So there are a number of things happening which are not, in the interest of India, Indian security, especially the seven
The northeastern frontier.
northeastern states. Why I said a ray of hope? Because in case BNP comes back to power, then India would expect that at least, there is a law and order, there is a certain, diplomatic relationship with which India can once again establish and bring to a certain normalcy. It's essential because India and Bangladesh have been very close since its formation in 1971. We are neighbors and have been best of friendliest terms. And in a way, our destinies are in a way intertwined.
Hello and welcome. I'm Srinivasan, and season's greetings to all our viewers. In this edition of Talking Sense with Srini, we're keeping the spotlight on the crisis in Bangladesh, as fresh unrest and street violence are putting the country's fragile political transition under strain. Sparked by the death of a key youth leader, Osman Hadi, the protests have reopened questions about governance, security, and the path to elections with clear regional implications. Joining us to decode this further is our editor-in-chief, Srinivasan. Thanks much indeed, sir.
Yeah, hi Vijay.
Hello, sir.
Season's greetings to you as well.
Thank you,
Yeah.
and you too. Let me begin with this for our viewers to understand what exactly is going on in Bangladesh and what political, economic, and social fault line that led to this chaos that's going on right now.
Now we have to rewind a bit to understand what has happened in Bangladesh. If you recall, in July August 2024, there was a widespread protest which broke out. Now the question is again whether it broke out spontaneously or it was also engineered. One doesn't know, but certainly that has resulted in Sheikh Hasina coming to India and taking refuge here, and other forces there gathering, especially Islamic forces in Bangladesh, gathering steam, trying to establish some kind of, a regime there. And you had Muhammad Yunus as the interim president of
That's right, yeah.
nation, and he's trying to hold elections in in February
26 February,
2025. 26 February, he's trying to hold elections. But, if you notice in between what has happened is Sheikh Hasina has been given a death sentence. The trial itself was, is considered a very,
It's a sham trial.
yeah, it's absolutely, that's what is being said. But what is worrying for us now, that's the background in which all these things have happened, that it appears now that a lot of anti-India forces are gathering there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a kind of a situation which is creating, on the one hand, we have China, which is inimical to our own interest, and then Pakistan. The current regime is developing very close relationship with Pakistan. In fact, Muhammad Yunus shared the map of India, a distorted map of India with the Pakistanis. The other thing is that you refer to Hadi's death.
Yeah.
He was shot dead. He was shot actually in Bangladesh, in Dhaka. He was taken to Singapore and hospitalized, and it was he couldn't survive and he died. But that resulted in a kind of a protest. Again, this is being suspected as, was it spontaneous or was it engineered? Because Hadi wasn't, he was a leader, he was a student leader, he was in favor of elections, he was the one who was supposed to participate in the election against a BNP candidate. All that is fine, but was he so big that European countries should be expressing, issuing long statements? So again, there is a bit of a question how much of external forces are also involved in developing situation in Bangladesh. So that's a big question. And on the other hand, the Islamists there are also trying to control, a certain narrative. And so there are a number of things happening which are not, in the interest of India. Indian security, especially the seven
The northeastern frontier.
northeastern states. So it's a matter of actually deep concern for India, the developments there.
With Tariq Rahman, he had a rousing welcome yesterday in Dhaka when he landed after 17 years. He was last there in Bangladesh in the year 2007. His mother was a former, a chief of state in Bangladesh, Khalida Zia. How much of this crisis is really about governance failures of Sheikh Hasina, or is it more of a tussle between two influential families, first families of Bangladesh?
Yeah, so that's how Bangladesh politics has been. It's estimated that about when the two parties were in, you know, um, when they were face to face in Bangladesh,
Yeah. The Awami League and the
Awami
BNP.
League had about 40% share, that's what being said, and about 25-30% is what BNP had, that is Bangladesh Nationalist
Party,
Party,
yeah.
which was
But Tariq Rahman's party.
Tariq Rahman's party. Is a co-founder along with his mother, who is now terminally ill.
Yeah.
Uh,
Zia Khalida.
yeah, Khalida Zia. She was a president also, and she and Hasina, Sheikh Hasina, were actually, it's a kind of a turnstile. They were sharing power one after another. So that circle was broken because she continued for a very long time, Sheikh Hasina, and she had jailed, Tariq. And then he went abroad for treatment.
That's right.
And
He
then
was out on bail, and he went.
and
he never
actually,
returned.
yeah, he
until
vowed
yesterday.
never to return. He said, "I would never return to Bangladesh." But
Yeah.
strange as politics would be, he's now back today, and he got rousing reception there,
That's
which
right.
is interesting, which holds a little ray of hope for India, because in case his party is going to participate in election, and there is a good chance that he could become the next prime minister. That's what is being said. And BNP is not, completely Islamic. It's actually, it believes in secular ideas. Today also he said in his first statement that everyone, including Hindus, have a place in Bangladesh, which is a welcome statement. Buddhist and other religions also have a place in Bangladesh. So it's a bit of a secular.
And in fact, they broke an alliance with
Yeah.
the extremist Muslim party
Exactly.
recently.
So that's a bit of a hope that in case he comes to power, but meanwhile, this agitation has led some people to suspect that this is being triggered to ensure the elections are postponed, and they are not held in February, so that Awami League, as you know, is kept out. BNP would
It's also
try
kept
to
out?
no BNP initial suspicion was, according to one observer who has written a comment piece in TheFederal also. Subir Bhaumik, according to him, is -2, which means both these Awami and BNP should be kept out, and so that more time be given for Islamists to grow, so that Jamaat-e-Islami, which had about 8 to 10% vote share earlier, gains more momentum and ultimately comes to power. Now, Subir, according to his theory, that he suspects this is being triggered in a way by Yunus, because Yunus wants to be the president, and it's like you scratch my back, I scratch your back. The Islamist or Jamaat Islam, which couldn't have come to power on its own, with the aid of this help from Yunus, they could come to power and he could stay as a president. That's what one of the theories, which is what Subir Bhaumik is saying. But then there are others who are saying that, look, this is true that Hadi's death and the killing is suspicious, and it's to blame India for that or to blame Awami League is pretty, it's a sham actually. That's too much of a narrative. So the thing here is whether the question is whether the other powers, outside powers, is there a power game happening there, which is taking interest in Bangladesh and allowing this to perpetuate, is the next theory there. So these are the things which are working on. I certainly feel whichever way you look at, it's a challenge for India. It's a matter of huge concern for India. How it is going to take care of this is an important thing. Why I said a ray of hope, because in case BNP comes back to power, then India would expect that at least there is a law and order, there is a certain, diplomatic relationship with which India can once again establish and bring a certain normalcy. Whether we can do that, I mean, that's a question. But all this depends on how things proceed now onwards.
Okay, but if the condition worsens, God forbid, but what kind of spillover effect that India got to be facing?
Well, it's very difficult to imagine because it's a very fluid situation.
Yeah.
To say things either way is very difficult because it's a developing situation. What is happening on the ground is, a lot of anti-India noises which is coming from there. But it doesn't mean that whole of Bangladesh believes in that. See, a lot of people who are secular in nature, who wants, they sure want good relationship in India, and they must be looking forward to that. It's essential because India and Bangladesh have been very close since its formation in 1971. We are neighbors and have been best of friendliest terms. And in a way, our destinies are in a way intertwined. The way we're going to, because they are our largest trade partner, $13.4 billion dollars the size of the trade. And our power company, one power company, private company from India, Adani, alone bills $1 billion. So there's a lot of linkages between the two nations. And look, all the poor people from Bangladesh, they come even to Chennai for medical treatment.
That's right. Yeah.
So medical tourism is really big, and they participate. They come here for that because it's cheaper here. Only those who can afford go to Singapore. So people to people, still India, Bangladesh has a lot of memories. But what seems to have happened is a new narrative which is being set, and possibly the younger generation, which is buying this argument that we are trying to create a kind of a new republic, a kind of a new nation, which will be very different from the past, which was perhaps Awami League pointing out that it was a corrupt and a kind of authoritarian regime headed by Hasina and aided by India. India is considered somebody who
very close to Sheikh
Hasina, and therefore we get drawn into this. And therefore, that regime should go and something new should come. But they don't seem to remember the past. In 1971, what happened, how it was India which came to help of Bangladesh. And Bangladesh was created because earlier Pakistan, would insist on imposing Urdu on them. I mean, it's actually a linguistic conflict. So it's linguistic plus, Bangla pride.
That's right, yeah.
The identity which they got from that. So that's one thing which is now being kind of erased, and more religious opposition is being brought forward. So it's a matter of concern how these things develop going ahead.
Understand, in 1971, Bangladesh was liberated under Indira Gandhi's prime ministership. But yesterday's speech from Tarique Rahman, if you really see it, he says, he brought in a juxtaposition between 1971 and 2024. He says that's the kind of revolution that's happening in 2024, and he thanked the people for that as well. You think that's a fair argument?
It's not a fair argument, but then because 1971 war was fought on a different thing, and his father was also, he was a general then, and
that's right.
He's the one who led it. So along with, Sheikh Mujibur was the overall
the founding father of Bangladesh.
He was the one who led it, but his father also, Tariq's father also was there, and he was a leading general then.
Yeah.
And in that sense, those memories, if he is trying to recall, that BNP also had a share in liberation of Bangladesh from clutches of Pakistan. So that would be useful if that memory is what he is referring to. And he is referring 2024 just to, in that sense, to keep the younger generation, in loop. Then it's that's the way, if we read it, it's a good sign. But if you're trying to say no, he's kind of endorsing what happened in 2024, I don't think so, because he is trying to mix the two and bring back those memories and take advantage of that, which I think is a probably a good strategy on his behalf.
But there has been eerie silence on the Chinese side as well. Obviously, China is a major player as far as Asia is concerned. Other than some diplomatic bromance here and there, India as well is closely watching the situation. We don't really do anything as of now. But how do you think India got to be reading the Beijing statements as far as Bangladesh is concerned? Do you see that the current crisis is an advantage for Beijing?
See, India has his position. India's position has been pretty restrained. We haven't issued, you know,
Anything solid?
anything which would, except that what happened was when our High Commissioner was summoned in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
So as a counter to that, we
Yeah.
summoned their High
Yeah.
Commission and then expected there'll be free and fair election, which again they objected. It didn't go down well with Bangladesh. He said, don't try to interfere in our internal affairs. That's the only thing we have done. But our credibility in telling Bangladesh that you should hold free and fair election takes a hit, because Bangladeshi politicians, they look at India, haven't you supported Hasina when she wasn't holding such a fair election?
Yeah.
So that's the context in which they frown at us making these suggestions. Now you referred to China, the China angle. You see, Chinese need not do anything. I mean, the way Chinese conduct the diplomacy is not something which will be in your face or they'll be coming out. But Chinese are, in a way, helping to rebuild infrastructure,
Yeah.
pumping a lot of money there to set up ports, to set up, to develop roads and other infrastructure. So they are working from behind the scene. Uh, so, uh, so to so that threat always remains. It's may not be very evident, but when the leaders, the so-called student leaders of Bangladesh, when they say that the seven sisters, which means basically northeastern states, seven northeastern states, could be cut off from India through chicken's neck. When these kind of statements are being made, and these are matters of concern for us, because if you look up the map, just above Sikkim,
Arunachal Pradesh.
no, that is on the northeast side. But I'm saying on the one side we have Nepal, and the other side above Chicken's Neck, it's very close where Chinese have set up their own infrastructure and they can reach there in no time. So it's a matter of if Bangladesh is also not favorable to India, because if any such crisis, we face any such problem from China, for the northeast, we can always take a land route from Bangladesh. We can create a corridor, send our forces through that. Besides Chicken Neck, we can do certain things, because otherwise the land, the landlocked, problem we have. If Bangladesh is antagonistic, then we can't use that.
That's right,
Only
yeah.
we are only, and if Chicken's Neck is cut off, then the only way perhaps is to airlift everything, which makes strategy very difficult. So it's very important that to keep an eye on what China is doing. Therefore, it is important from that sense. Not that China would be doing anything outwardly as of now, but as strategic, as security scenarios as it is developing. It's a matter of concern for security observers. They'll be looking at these things very closely.
Okay. One last question there, sir. We also saw this report of a Hindu man being lynched on the streets of Bangladesh. Certainly, bringing in a lot of backlash from India as well. What experts say is that there's been both kind of extremists, both in Bangladesh and India as well, kind of exacerbating the scenario with their polarizing comments. With the election it's going to happen in West Bengal in 2026, what kind of political ramification you think would happen?
Well, it's actually a pretty difficult situation, because if whatever happening is lynching of people there in Bangladesh, the entire description is that he's an Hindu, and the way, even just now before coming to this discussion, I was watching TV channels, and they were flashing another Hindu
Yeah.
attacked, or another Hindu
the Bangladeshi government has denied.
Now, that's a very problematic
Yeah.
because end of the day, is a Bangladeshi, it's their internal thing. And, to bring in religion into this is a very difficult question. But, when we do things like this, that the moral, if you look at the moral high ground, which India used to take in the past, whether we have that moral high ground even now with us is a big question. Because similar things can be said about what is happening to
Muslims in
people-
India,
yeah,
Christians in India, Christians yesterday during Christmas.
So those questions could be asked. So it's a very uncomfortable situation for India to get into this. So I think a lot of restraint is required, and especially with elections coming, these issues shouldn't be allowed to get out of hand. Unfortunately, neither Mohammed Yunus said much there, and not any statement came from higher ups, even in India. These things necessarily and must be avoided at this point of time, because any flare up.
But should we be bracing ourselves for some polarization in West Bengal because
Already,
of this?
the polarization is already happening. It is not as if there is something. The only thing is the political class has to ensure that it doesn't get out of hand, so that the temperature doesn't get so out of hand that it becomes difficult to handle. Because once the genie is out of the bag, it's very difficult to bring it back. So the situation is grim. So the India so far has been pretty restrained in its observations, in its statements, and it should, as a power, we also have aspiration to emerge as a regional power. And after all, things are happening in our neighborhood, so we have every reason to, point out that it's not in our interest. So I would refer to Mr. Vivek Kajju's article, which he wrote in Federal, where he clearly said that India must firmly tell Bangladesh that, look, whatever your internal affairs are, we respect that. You hold your elections, you have your, you handle your internal affairs the way you want. But then there are certain red lines as far as Indian security is concerned, Indian interests are concerned. Ensure that those are not crossed.
Thank you very much, sir. Very insightful talking to you.
Thank you.